Welcome to Salem, Massachusetts, the goth capital of the world. I assume, I think. Just behind me is one of the oldest graveyards in the country. I've known this place all my life. It's just outside Salem. And you know what I'm not gonna do? Anything weird for internet clout. I'm not gonna go up there and steal bones or dig up dirt or anything else. I'm just gonna be respectful and normal.
Every few years, it happens. There's a fun new social media platform. It attracts a bunch of cool young people. They all start posting exciting content, and then, without fail, every single time, everyone starts fighting about human remains. We're talking about bone drama. Let's dive in, shall we? Hi there, my name is Ryan Broderick. I write about the internet, and I probably take memes a bit too seriously.
I wanted to talk about occultism and paganism on the internet. So obviously, these are real things, and this video is not like a judgment on any of that. I grew up around here, I'm very used to that whole idea, I understand it. Instead, what I want to talk about is the really weird amounts of internet drama that tend to follow these communities around. And I want to figure out, what is it about mysticism and New Age beliefs and spirituality that just creates so much infighting online? I mean, what's the deal?
So, as I said, I made this video because I've noticed a pattern that happens basically every single time there's a new social network. People join it, they start posting really fun stuff, a bunch of people who are really into occultism show up, and then somebody gets accused of robbing a grave or stealing human remains or selling human remains or doing something weird with bones that they shouldn't be doing. It's a very weird thing, but it keeps happening. So I want to try to pick apart what the processes are that lead to this and maybe come up with a reason for why it keeps happening. But like I said, this is complicated and it's strange. Also, if you don't feel comfortable looking at pictures of bones or talking about dead people, this video might not be for you. Let's start at the beginning. Since the very, very start of the internet, people have used it to talk about witchcraft and occultism. In the 1980s and early 1990s, there was an online community called Podsnet. It stood for the Pagan and Occult Distribution Network, and it had thousands of users. And it, of course, was full of drama. According to a recent Vice article I read about Podsnet, users there spent 6 years arguing about whether or not the singer Kate Bush was Wiccan. Podsnet users also organized a crowdsourced project called the Internet Book of Shadows, which honestly sounds cool as hell. For a long time, witches, occultists, pagans, they just hung out on more mainstream social networks. So you had witches on MySpace, you had cults on LiveJournal, and they would just sort of hang out in their own corners of the web. Basically, for as long as the technology has existed, we've used social media to cast weird spells on each other or talk about the moon. Although here's a fun fact for you. VampireFreaks.com started as a social network in 1999. Last year, it transitioned into just being a vampire apparel store. But that means it was a social network from 1999 until 2020, making it one of the longest running social networks in internet history. So, says something about the staying power of the vampire community for sure. So obviously, there's no way to talk about internet occultism without talking about Tumblr. So it's time to talk about Bone Ghazi, or the time a Tumblr witch stole bones from a graveyard. It all started when a witch named Ender Darling posted in a secret Facebook group for queer witches about their bone collection. Immediately, members of the Queer Witch Facebook group asked Ender Darling if their bones were ethically sourced. It, of course, turns out they weren't. Then someone posted screenshots of the whole thing to Tumblr. The post that really kicked everything off was from a user named Pastel Prouvaire, who wrote, PSA, Tumblr user Little Fucking Monster, which is Ender Darling's Tumblr name, is stealing human bones from cemeteries in Louisiana. Please don't let them get away with this. Spread the word and signal boost. Look, I'm just going to put this out there. If you come across a Tumblr post where everyone's like, PSA, here's this person, here's all the information, like, stay away from them, like, things are probably going to spiral out of control pretty fast for you. This is just like one of those things. When the Tumblr users find you, shit hits the fan. And for Ender Darling, it certainly did. Here's a very funny screenshot from the Queer Witch Facebook group. One user wrote, "You need to be careful with state and federal laws." And Ender Darling responded, "Oh, I know. I looked it up, and it's all good. I wouldn't even be offering if there was a chance someone would get in trouble. Me, LOL." Anyways, they got arrested. The whole controversy was nicknamed Bone Ghazi, obviously. But there's actually been a surprising amount of human remains drama on Tumblr over the years. As one user wrote, "You can literally imagine dying and having your body donated, and instead of being used for research or organ donation, some Tumblr Yahoo with a URL like Cummy Kitten buys your skeleton and takes selfies with it, and unknowingly you're at the center of Tumblr drama, but you're fucking dead," which is exactly what happened in 2018. Also, Cummy Eyelids, the user that was taking selfies with the skeleton and posting them on Tumblr, was already pretty famous on the site for an incident called Tumblr, where she was having Tumblr users mail her human remains like toes, and then she would turn them into jewelry. But this kind of drama, like I said, isn't just a Tumblr problem. This is kind of normal for this part of the internet. About 2 years ago, Twitter hexes became super popular. In fact, I was hexed by a Twitter user in 2020. I tweeted that I thought Michael Schur comedies all relied on this same weird trope where a nerdy guy dates a bisexual woman and then they have like a twee improvised wedding in their workplace or their backyard or living room or something. And A Good Place stan cursed me in Latin. And just last spring, a fan of the Minecraft YouTuber Dream said they stole grave dirt to cast a spell on people who are being mean to Dream. If you're a Dream fan, I just want to say, Dream seems great. Minecraft seems cool. Please do not put a curse on me. I mean, I'm making YouTube videos about internet drama. Like, I don't want to see like how much worse my life can get. I'm good. Please don't hex me.
People are fascinated by death, but they're also freaked out by it, fairly enough. So I think there's this thing that happens where people want to talk about spirituality, mysticism, occultism, death, but the internet is a race to the bottom, so everyone's trying to outdo each other. So what starts off as sort of like fun conversations about otherworldly things quickly devolves into a bunch of weirdos selling bones on the internet. But nowadays, all this kind of drama we're talking about, the curses, the cults, the bone stealing, it's all kind of happening just on one place. And that's TikTok.
For instance, in 2020, baby witches on TikTok hexed the moon. What's going on with the moon? A thread, because everyone's confused. Basically, in the past few days, a group of fresh baby witches decided to band together and hex the Fae, and then the moon, and they did. Now they're planning to hex the sun too. Inexperienced witches who should only be researching and doing protection work. That's what fresh baby witches means in this context. What's a hex? A hex is essentially spell work that is a collection of negative energy and is directed to someone, something, or a group of someone, somethings. These are intended to have negative effects and cause harm to them and their lives. These baby witches specifically stem from witch TikTok or witch talk. Who are the Fae? Well, technically the Fae are Celtic specific, but it's more accurate to say fair folk, but essentially they are non-human creatures that fairies are based on. Next up, the moon thing. After hexing the Fae, this group of newbie witches decided to hex the moon. Yeah, the planet, the moon, they hexed it. Why does this matter? Well, for witches, the moon is integral to our work. Most notably, it fuels spells and provides power. Obviously, you shouldn't disrespect the moon. This is actually my favorite type of internet thing, a person enthusiastically and confidently talking about something I have absolutely zero context for. And then there was, of course, the TikTok cult. An eco-friendly commune called The Garden started trending on TikTok after a British influencer named Tree filmed a video there last year. The Garden is based in Tennessee and had been going for about 12 years before TikTok discovered it, but the viral attention from Tree's videos very quickly spun out of control. People from TikTok started showing up to the commune, trying to live there, and the rumor started circulating so badly that at one point someone was accused of eating a cat. But most recently, TikTok had its very own Bone Ghazi. A Gen Z osteological entrepreneur started advertising his bone selling business on the platform. I don't know, man. $100 for a fibula? Seems kind of high to me. John's Bones was, of course, then called out for possibly selling indigenous remains, among other things. And this is how he responded to all the drama, which is even more confusing.
แม่ของเราเป็นคนไทยครับเราเกิดที่กรุงเทพอะ I was literally born in Asia and I'm from Thailand.
So I guess the question with all of this is why, right? Like, what's the deal? What is it about the internet that brings everyone together and ultimately ends up with someone getting in trouble for robbing a grave or stealing bones or something?
If you think about it, the internet is kind of like a spiritual plane itself, right? Like, we use it to access this invisible world that's only limited by our imaginations. So maybe what it is people who are drawn towards connecting to some kind of higher power also really love to use the internet. But it could also just be that, you know, teenagers are really fucking stupid, right?
Or maybe it's like they really want the clout and it's like cool and edgy. I don't know. I mean, I just think of all the things to be really sure about whether or not you're doing the legal and correct thing. Selling human remains would be like the big one to really triple check, you know? I also think maybe every generation is just going to have a scandal like this because there is no real collective memory online. We like to think of the internet as a singular text that's constantly being updated and everyone can look back and see their history, but that's not really true. There's too much content to consume. So a kid who's 14 years old right now, they might learn a lot about the internet, but there's no way they're going to learn everything. And even me, you know, someone who's been online for 20 years, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happened before that I don't really know about. And so we sort of get stuck in these loops. And so maybe it's a platform thing, but the fact that it's happened on so many different platforms over the years makes you think that this might just actually be one of those weird quirks of human nature. Somebody's going to try to sell bones on the internet and everyone's going to get mad at them, which is a really weird thing to keep happening, right? Thank you for watching. Once again, I want to thank my handy dandy motion graphics artist, John, for making some great spooky themed illustrations for this video. And as I said, if you didn't like anything in this video, you can leave a comment. You can even give me a little dislike, but please do not put any curses on me. I got cursed in 2020 and I feel like things just really haven't picked up for me ever since, you know? So I can't really afford to get cursed again. And lastly, of course, here is a video of John's dog.